88.5 Surf FM. It's now 10 minutes after the hour of 10 a.m. in Surface and Lucian, Eastern Caribbean. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Welcome inside another edition of House Guest. And of course, it's Wednesday, the 27th of April, 2022. In house with me, I have Miss ALEXIA ALCINDOR, better known as Sissy. Good morning to you. It's a pleasure to have you here. Much anticipation, I must say.
Good morning, baby Bree. Thank you for having me again. This time wearing a different hat.
Like I said, it's a pleasure to have you here. Just before we begin, just your views on the new Sophia Youth and Sports Council, which was elected and which still sees you as one of the trustees. Congratulations, of course, to you.
Thank you. I think it's long overdue. We've had to had youth and sports council elections for some time now. Kudos to the outgoing president and his team in what they tried to accomplish, especially during a COVID time. And this this term, we're seeing a good mix of the young and the with fresh new ideas and the experience. So I think the collaboration between the two is going to make a really good team for Sufre Sports, youth and sports moving forward.
Also, what is your take with the injection? Because we see a lot of young persons are actually on the council, and maybe you may have a few plans you would like to see them develop as it pertains to software.
Well, to be honest, it wasn't an easy task. The mobilization was a little difficult to get the young persons to come in and commit to the council, um, primarily because of COVID and the fact that so little was done. So the council wasn't out there in the limelight, with sports and all sorts of activities. Of course, because of COVID, and so it took a little bit of buying and well selling to the young person. Said, you know what, we need you to come on board, and you have fresh new ideas, and come and make a contribution towards your community, that kind of vibe. So I'm elated that so many of them, took the opportunity. And some of them are not even on the council executive, but they have volunteered to be part of the youth committee and the sports committee. So we see an injection of a lot of young people coming in to this Youth and Sports Council executive. So that's great.
It is great, but also, where does that leave you in terms of a former president yourself?
Well,
What
for
work would you like to see completed?
um, Well, I would like to see. Well, I am also on the council as a trustee, so my goal here is to try and mentor these young persons to, continue some of the things that we already started, like a community sports. We'd like to see that revamped, considering that we have a facility that we can actually host a proper activity on. I'd like to see that, of course, more youth development programs, debates, that kind of thing. Let's look at how we can touch on the cultural and more artistic creative industries, I should say. We have to tap into that a little bit. We haven't over the years we haven't really tapped into our creative industries in the community. So I think the young persons have, ideas that they're willing and ready to initiate in the community.
I'm very happy you saw a smile when you said creative industries because I think Sophia has a lot to offer in terms of our talent. And some persons feel let down and left out. And hence the reason why they actually go out of software to create a name for themselves. So that would be the day when we would love to see these things are happening right in software, and persons would have to come to us for our offerings and not us going out to make it happen and build a name for
I
ourselves.
agree. I agree. We're hoping to create more avenues for young persons to do that.
Definitely, and that's why
Yes.
you're here for sure. Excitingly, Sofa Football League. Can you tell us more about it for persons who are not aware? And if there are listeners who actually want to sign up, if they are interested, if they have the youth who are interested, please share all the information with us.
Well, the Super Football League is our umbrella body is the St. Lucia Football Association, and each district has its own football league, which is made up of different football clubs. Um, Last year, December, a new executive was formed in the person of, well, me. I'm the new league president, and we have the rest of the executive members are Mr. Nimaya Senjo, who's the first vice president, Miss Marylis Campbell, who's the second vice. We have Miss Janelle Senjo, who's our secretary, Miss Leofa Felix, who's our assistant secretary, Miss Leandra St. Rose, who's our treasurer, and Mr. Kiefer Prosper, our PRO. And what we try to do is, ensure that we had persons from the different clubs sitting on the executive. But our mandate is to see how we can improve football in the community. So that's our goal. After we haven't had football for quite a number of years, even before the field was closed, it was not in the best condition. So even then, we didn't have much football, and then it was closed for the installation of the artificial turf. So now that we have a facility where we can play football, we're looking to play a lot more football in the community.
As anything else, there are always challenges. Can you speak to a few of what you may have to undergo?
Well, you are right. As anything else, there are challenges. Football has quite a few challenges coming out of COVID, of course. We can still see that, you still need vaccination cards to attend football games and stuff like that. But for us in Sufre, um, as an executive, we've actually outlined four major goals. And one of our goals is to strengthen the league and the club structure. And of course, that goal is because it's a challenge. We find that we don't have a lot of capacity, like, we don't have enough persons. We have a lot of clubs, but some of them do not have functioning executives. So, it's just, especially for football, when the clubs came about, it was, guys who just wanted to play football. But now with the Senator Football Association being part of FIFA, there are lots of regulations that need to be followed and constitutions that clubs need to have, and they need to become licensed. So that is one of our challenges, is to get more of our clubs licensed. So we currently have only three licensed clubs in Suffolk. We have Black Panthers Youth and Sports Club, Challengers Youth Club, and Rising Stars. And the others are not licensed. They are clubs because they fall under the Youth and Sports Council, but they are not able to participate in football as yet, as they are not licensed clubs. So we have a few outstanding clubs like Force Jacques, Faith, Barron's Drive. So we have a few clubs that we know we need to get registered and in the system. So that's part of our goal, is to strengthen the league and the club structure so that we can build a capacity. So every club has a president, persons who know how to run the executive. So that's part of our plan to
Okay.
help do that.
Thank you very much for sharing some light on that. And also, we've had discussions where you mentioned training the Mikoderi on a Saturday. Is it still happening? You mind speaking to us about it?
Pardon, training on the
The youth
oh, the youth
football
oh, youth
training.
football. Well, I'm the president of Black Panthers, and we have a grassroots program. Now, as the new league president, another goal that we have is to develop a district grassroots program. So it will incorporate not just the students from, well, children from Black Panthers, but we're looking to, bringing kids from all the different clubs and do a district grassroots program for them, so that everybody gets involved. And that in itself will also lead to capacity building, because, we need more coaches, more grassroots coaches. And so, it'll give us an opportunity to train young persons who are willing to, become coaches. So I think the plan going forward is to create a district grassroots program.
Okay, I fully agree with you. But if we have to look at community and the grassroots program, especially the high level of delinquency, and if we have to look at teenage pregnancy, yeah, and so many other social ills, how do you think they can really measure help to curb such and also develop the young persons as an individual on a whole?
Um, for me, sports is oftentimes we like to separate youth and sports development. But for me, I see it as developing your youth through sports. And what it has done is, I mean, starting from the grassroots program, when you have kids involved in sports, you develop discipline. I remember during COVID times when, when it was just being let up and we'd written to the CMO for permission to train. And on an afternoon, there were so many kids. And I said to Coach Gibbs, let's try it in the morning. He said, but see, you think they'll wake up so early? I said, but I mean, nothing beats a try. Let's get them up early. And when they're up, they're ready for school right away. So nobody's sleeping in, even though your classes are online, because you're up for football at 6:30 in the morning. And surprisingly, kids were up at 6:30 in the morning coming to do grassroots training before school. And so that helps build, that discipline and, preparing them. So there are a lot of other things that you can develop through sports. We want to use sports to, do your public speaking when you do, after a game, when you have match interviews, all of that we can develop through sports. So I see it as an avenue, and even persons who are not even sports related, you know, but they're good administratively, you bring them on board as well. So they're not participating in sports on the field, but they're behind the scenes coordinating events, doing that kind of stuff. That also helps. And whenever you're part of a club structure, it helps. It helps with your overall development. So I think that's a plus to be part of a structure. So we're hoping to be able to provide that to a lot of youth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a plus as well. So, just sitting here and listening to you, who are your mentors? Maybe if other persons want to actually emulate, how how have you been able to actually get to this stage?
Um, if I should say if I have a mentor per se, not really, Kabrina. There are persons who have
Inspired you?
inspired me, because I'll be honest and tell you, the only reason I entered football is because I had a son.
Okay.
Prior to that, I only
It's still
watched
a
football.
motivator.
Yeah,
Yes.
I watched football for fun. I love sports. But when I had my son, who was an overactive kid, I I had to, find an avenue for him to channel all that energy. And he was about 3 when I went to the founders of Black Panthers. At the time was Geek Soccer Academy, Mr. Gilroy Lamontagne and Miss Claudia Lamontagne. And, he was free, and they were like, well, they're supposed to start at 5, but if you want to start him at 3, then you have to be with him. And I'm like, that's fine, I can come in. So, and that's how I started looking at the program that they were doing, and seeing how it could be improved. And to be honest, that's how I started in the whole football thing 7, 8 years ago.
Okay. For me, we're talking about honesty as well, and as women, for sure. I love what you do, and to some extent, I feel inspired. But here you go, in terms of I'm not a sports enthusiast. In terms of not even,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot even kick a ball, much less I cannot even run a proper relay. But behind the scenes, this is where we can definitely give our input, and I 100% agree with that. And we, or when you feel it's ready and stuff, I'm always there. Feel free to just text or collaborate. Just hey,
Great.
anything,
Thank
and
you.
I'm always
Yes.
willing to, for
That's
sure.
wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
And if we were to maybe just step away from the football discussion, okay, I see you smiling. Maybe you know what I'm about to say. We love the youth and we look at development in all facets. So if we need to, the conversation we had in terms of developing them academically, where you have an initiative so you can share more with the public as well. And maybe I'm sure there are parents who will definitely might be interested after this discussion.
For academic support.
Yes, in terms of the mathematical concept, the program you wanted to introduce
Oh
and
well,
stuff.
yes, I did. Yes, we're stepping away from the Youth and Sports Council hat, as everybody would know now. I'm the numeracy coordinator for District 8, responsible for mathematics in the district. Um, Although I am the numeracy support teacher, the district essentially has a district support team, which comprises of numeracy and literacy. And right now we're on a literacy drive to see how we can improve the reading of students in the district. Surprisingly enough, in the by next month is reading month. So maybe what I'm going to say will make Kabrina smile because for reading
I'm
month, we're
already
hoping
smiling for sure.
we're hoping that we can come into the radio station. However, the timing is the most critical part for us because when we want to reach the kids, of course, they would be at school, and so we will have to do the program not on a Wednesday morning, but a time more convenient where we can get our young listeners in to help develop the reading and the listening comprehension. I think we can 88.5 can definitely help with our listening comprehension. Um, and yes, I am
It is.
still looking to do some mathematics program, but still again, the most appropriate time has to be figured out so we can
Check
reach
it
a lot of
out.
our
Because
kids
I tried
through this
myself.
medium.
Thank you very much for that, for sure. And I think it kind of lend assistance to the instructors because when we really look at 24 hours in a day, there's not much time to teach the children everything that's basically in a concept, and there were differently able children as well. So that can be some added pressure on the teacher. So with an additional maybe medium or program, I think it enables them greatly.
Yes, and
And again, kudos to that for sure with what you're doing. Are you looking to bring on board other persons on this initiative as well? I know we spoke, you and I, on a one-on-one,
yes,
but if there were other persons who may
of
have
course.
indicated the very same interests.
And like I was saying about the collaboration, cooperation between youth and sports development for stuff like Reading Month. You get different persons from your clubs that the kids look up to, your football players, and they go into the schools and they read to the students. And it's somebody different, somebody you've seen in a completely different light. All you've seen him or her do is kick a ball, and then that person is coming and read to you, and then you see, oh well, the value and the importance of reading. And so I think that's something we could also partner with the Youth and Sports Council, especially during Reading Month, to go into the schools, come on the radio, that kind of stuff.
Which is true. 88.5 hours of FM, 28 minutes after the hour by 10 a.m. in Service and Lucian Eastern Caribbean. Once again, a pleasant good morning to you if you're now joining me. It's house guest, ALEXIA ALCINDOR, better known as Sissy. If you would like us to maybe to just jump back in terms of persons who may have missed, and if they have any interested persons in terms of how do they get into the Super Football League, or how do they get into even with different activities that's happening as it relates to developing the youth, whatever falls directly under your umbrella for sure.
Well, for sure, part of our clubs. league strengthening activities is that we'd want to train a lot more referees, coaches, be it grassroots coaches, female coaches, persons who are interested in the D license program. So we're looking for interested persons who are willing, to undertake these courses. So as a community, we can
Are there
self-sustain.
any criteria to that?
Um, to be honest, the first criteria is the interest. Oftentimes, we have persons who do these different courses, but they don't come and give back. So one, we really want the interest. If you are willing to do the course and to actually participate, because sometimes people do it and they after a while they don't want to train anymore. They don't want to coach, and it really stifles our capacity building. So what we want is interested persons. Of course, um, having the knowledge is good. But for me, once you're interested in something, then you'll start to read about it, start to do the necessary.
Which is
So
true, but also without cutting you short, it's one thing when you indicate your interest, and then it's another thing where things really starts off with a bang, and then after that,
yes,
everything,
to generate the interest and
yeah,
then to keep the interest. Yes.
definitely.
So for sure, you do it and then there's no avenue for you to practice what you've learned. Yes. And so for sure what we want to do is to develop to provide a lot more football in the community with grassroots tournaments, women's tournaments, and more tournaments for our senior players. So that will give persons, the coaches, when we have our district um, grassroots program, they have avenues to do coaching, we have avenues to referee the game. So, but we first need to build the capacity because as of now, we're still getting everybody who comes to referee is sent by the association from around the island and not from the community.
Okay. Permit me to ask, persons who are listening may tend to feel a little jealousness because everything is so fair, it's so kid, but what's about we have to incorporate areas like Boto, we have to incorporate Fort Saint Jean, and what is there for those sub communities as well? Because I do not think Fort Saint Jean has its own council for sure.
Well, actually, you spoke to Foster Jacques last week. We are working on getting them licensed. They are working on their executive for their council for um, their club. So pretty soon we're hoping to see Foster Jack on board. Um, we haven't tapped into Buto yet. What I'm thinking is when we use some of our initiatives like school outreach to at least tap into the students who are in our out districts, Buto. But then Foster Jack itself is a whole community on its own. So once we get that going, then the kids and everybody else will fall in. So yeah, the plan is to get everybody playing the sport at some sports, if I can talk for both hats, because they have some. I know I'm the president for football, but we have kids who want to do table tennis and all of that. So me sort of sitting on the executive of the Youth and Sports Council also shed some light on the different avenues and different sports that our non-football fans would love to participate in volleyball and netball and everything else. But for me right now, it's football to
Okay,
bring it
well,
back.
definitely. So, and in your tenure, what would you like to really see happen? List three major projects. Sorry for giving you that cry.
um, well, we have our major goals, and underneath that, we would like to see the the development of our women's program because we've seen a number of our female athletes, our female footballers attain scholarships and stuff. So we want to be able to keep that and keep these girls, well, new girls coming in, training, give them a proper program, um, see how much we can help mentor them and get the academics so that when the opportunity presents itself, that they are able to take the opportunity. I mean, a lot of us didn't get that kind of opportunity back then, but it's there now. So let's make it available to our young person. So we definitely want to see a women's proper women's program for the community. Of course, a proper grassroots program. Um, and we want to see more senior tournament. We want that stadium filled again with persons participating, coming to watch our football. And I will not forget um, Mr. Kifo Prosper, our PRO, and he said we need to stop majoring in minor activities, in minor things, and let's major in major things. So we're looking to see how we can start our football program and go big with it. Let's do something similar to Black Heart. Let's go big. So that is the future for us to see, us bringing in persons from all over the island, in a tournament. And if we can go regional, let's go regional. But that is our three major things that we want to see happen.
I definitely agree. I look at the sports, and you can share similar in terms of you learn or you get discipline for sports, which is, I think, a great initiative as well, if you have to look at it. Um, if we were to speak of something else in terms of when those games are happening, for sure, um, it is sad. Those kids that they're unsupervised, and maybe you may have seen it. If it's something you all would like to maybe discuss and try and make it better in terms of at least have an adult or guardian because they come to the games. So if anything happened to them, I mean, it falls on sometimes the persons, not necessarily you as the president or something that
Hmm.
may find that game was there and they want that venue and stuff. So some sort of responsibility will be laid, some blame will be carried out, to an extent. So I think it's more supervision if you can agree to that.
Yeah,
And
I think.
also maybe the time or hours those events have been coordinated as well too, because we cannot lie to say in the past those games have been ending really, really late, and sometimes the
Yes.
kids are there the next day have to go to school, and there's
Hmm.
not much of police presence, and sometimes it's chaotic.
So yes, and I agree, and I would say before the stadium was, well, we had a committee, a volunteer committee, essentially running the stadium. But now we have a stadium with a facilities manager. So I'm thinking that, now we actually have someone responsible for the facility, that all of these things will be put in place in terms of security and how we're going to do with minors, whether when we have games, whether we'll allow a minor to come into a game on their own, or whether they're supposed to be supervised by a parent to be allowed into the facility during games, that kind of thing. Our rules and regulations for use of the facility. So I'm thinking we're well on our way with the facility and with a facilities manager, that we could curb on a lot of the things that we were not able to do in the past. So I'm hoping, yeah.
Okay. Any other talking points you may have, what you feel you need to touch on, please feel free to do so.
Um, what else I want to say? I'm really looking forward to bringing football, back into the community, to getting the rest of the clubs registered. Barons Drive. They've been out of it for a little while, so I'm hoping that persons who are listening to the program um, be very open minded to the initiatives that will be taken on by the executive, and that it will. I mean, an executive committee cannot do it on their own. So it will have to take the entire community to bring football back to where it was. I want to be able to, as a league, first to tap into our private sector and partner with our private sector to help bring the community back, because especially us being a tourism destination and high on tourists, we can tap into sports tourism. And with the backing of our Jade Mountains and our Sugar Beach, and even the smaller ones like Laderas, and even the villas that we have around, once if we can get the sponsorship and run tournaments that will see an influx of persons coming from around the island into Sufre to to watch sports and to then it's going to trickle down, and our villas will be filled, our our resorts will be filled, that kind of thing. So I'm hoping that we can have that collaboration where we can partner with our partner with our private sector and tap into a bit of sports tourism with regards to football. At least we can start with football.
I fully agree with you for sure. Just before we near our discussion, it has been very interesting for sure with the different talking points and persons who are interested. They can definitely contact you
Yes. Or
um,
any member of the executive.
or any member of the executive for sure. Today is a big day. Can you agree? Today is a very big day,
Um,
Christopher,
it is. It is.
with the visit of the
The
royals
Royals,
for sure.
for
And
sure.
you mentioned earlier that, progress, to
Pro-
that extent is great for sure, and
Yes,
it's a good
yes.
thing.
I
And
mean,
I
I'm
think
just
it's
is it
just, how can we put it? Is the enthusiasm, persons display when we have the royals visiting us at such a small island, and especially looking at the community of Sophia, everything that is being offered. Why not come in and bask in the glory and enjoy everything else?
I agree.
I definitely agree with that.
I agree with that. I mean, if I was having anybody special coming to my home in particular, I'm sure I would,
You put out
cook
your
the best dishes
finest,
and put up my
which is
finest,
true, which
which
is
is
true.
true. So if we are having the royals visiting us, then
Because sometimes that impression needs to be created for a moment. You need to paint the best picture for
yes,
sure,
for
because it
sure.
can go a long way for us,
And I'm
and
hoping that it
and
does.
any other thing, if it's bad, can implicate us as well. We can have a very bad implication
It's
if
true.
it's not a good experience. So I think all
Yes,
in all, kudos to all those persons who really helped for this big venture today, and those who are still working, and all those who are really anticipating to see the Royals. For sure, it's a packed day for them and all those persons involved.
yes, I
It's a
think
great day for
yes.
St. Lucia and
And
Sofre,
Soufre,
for
yes. I
sure.
mean, for 2 nights, I've seen the lights on, rehearsals, making sure everything is on point. Um, for me personally, Cabrina, I mean, I'm happy the Royals are here, and that's a personal thing because I walked by the stadium and I saw the little facelift and I smiled. I'm like, I'm ready to thank you, and that I'm ready to host a football tournament as soon as they depart.
That is the spirit for sure. 20 minutes moving up to the hour. 11 a.m. in Surface and Ocean Eastern Caribbean. It is now time for your final comments.
Um, I thought we had. I was just looking to see if we had anybody say anything on the chat.
Oh,
Finally,
yes, Joseph, I believe. How can I forget? Maybe that's you, Sheldon Lionel. He said, and second, to be able to run. We have Vanda Alfred saying good morning to us for sure.
mhm.
Let's just acknowledge all our online viewers as well. Good morning to you guys. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you for the support. And you tune in via frequency as well. We say a pleasant good morning to you as always. Thank you so much for keeping us tuned. You got
Yes.
something on your end?
On my end, I'm saying if it
Go
wasn't for the
ahead.
Royals coming, the place won't get fixed up. That's a great thing about their visit. But we said
Yeah,
that we
well,
thanks, we're
yeah.
happy. We're still we'll take it and
Well,
hurry.
any and everyone is entitled to their opinion.
Yes.
Remember, we all share our opinions.
But we're thankful nonetheless. I will be there. I'm going to see the Royals.
Oh, that's why you all dressed up so pretty, is it?
So, but yeah, going back to football. So yes, this is our plan for for football in the community. Of course, Sabrina, as we continue, we'll be coming back to shed some light on, different tournaments and different programs that we have. So, no stranger,
I'm not a stranger because I have reached out to you on numerous
you
occasions, but
have,
we have been busy. We all have things
yes,
to take care of, and as I say, whenever you're ready,
wonderful. So,
yes, whenever you're ready.
um, I just want the community and all out there to be patient. It's coming. We have things in store, so we just getting ourselves settled in as an executive, getting our finance together, and roll out the red carpet soon enough.
Definitely. Let me just reach out to someone I missed online. Margot Tom. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. This is one of our avid listeners as well as our viewers. Good morning, and thank you so much for the tokens. Very much appreciated. So to Margot Tom, who's in St. Lucia visiting, thank you so much, and hope to see you before you leave.
I see Sheldon Lionel asking if they intend to host the tournament. Will we have an age group criteria? We're definitely looking to host different tournaments, be it senior programs, grassroots, like your under 14, under 10, different tournaments. So we were hoping to cater for for everything, for everyone, um, when we set out our tournaments.
Okay, Delroy sent a chat as well. You may want to have a look at it and respond.
Let's see. Let's take advantage of the facility and host a proper football tournament. I agree. I agree. We want to take full advantage of that.
You agree?
Yes,
Yeah, well,
yes.
we agree 100%
Yeah,
for
we're
sure.
going to.
And with that being said, this takes us to our house guest edition for today, the 27th of April 2022. It has been yours truly, Baby Bree, alongside Miss Alexia Alcindor, also known as Sissy. Thank you so much for tuning in. It has been a great pleasure. And this is just a first of our
Any?
series of consultations, discussions, and working together.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Let us stay to all.